And now I am happy to introduce, just returned from a brief vacation, so he's rested. And if you've got an ask for the city of Newark, maybe today is the right day to do it. He's like in a very good mood, I imagine. The New Yorker magazine calls him a reasonable radical. I call him a practical progressive. He has been our indispensable leader for 12 years. Mayor Baraka, come on, say something.
Good morning. I wish it was a vacation, really, but no, I was in Liberia. It was like a vacation for me, but I was still doing work, unfortunately. But it's always a pleasure to be at NJPAC and to see all of you guys assembled here today for what means for us one of the largest and most impactful events we've had in this city, in this region, probably in the state in a very, very, very long time. The largest sporting event in the world coming to this region, coming to the state of New Jersey, this area is incredible for all of us, trying to figure out how to capture that economically for the people of this community, for the people of this state, for this region is what we should be doing. Trying to feed our businesses, help our economy grow, put money on people's table in their pockets, especially at a time when costs are going up. This is an indispensable opportunity for us to do the right thing collectively. And I think, ultimately people will try to go at it on their own and do what they can for themselves and maybe get a little bit of this big thing happening. But I think collectively with a larger plan that not only the state and the region puts together, but something that we do collectively on this footprint in Newark proper will help us completely, I think it will help us generationally even if we do it the right way. It is incredibly important to get people down here to the center of gravity, to NJPAC, to the museum, to the library, to all of the assets that we have here, to see our universities, to eat at our restaurants, to partake in the culture of the city of Newark. And what makes this dynamic for us is that our city is already diverse. Maybe all of the teams, if not half of them that are playing in the World Cup, has a footprint here in and around the city of Newark, which is going to raise the level of excitement in this community, bring more and more people, not just from outside of the country, but from the local areas around here to the city of Newark. Just a tidbit, we got a request in the mayor's office to help one city, or one country, I should say, in Africa with 20,000 visas, right? And it was incredible when I read the note. I was like, this is crazy. But you can see the level of excitement that people have about coming to the World Cup in America, in this region, is going to be more than I think we even anticipate. So this is the right thing to do. I'm glad that people are thinking ahead and putting this together. Shout out to everybody that is here trying to get a head start. Well, this is not really a head start. We're almost there tomorrow, trying to get a piece of it before it really comes upon us. So good luck to everybody. Thank you. We need you. And I want to thank John Schreiber all of the time for opening up his doors and allowing this to be not just an art center, but a community center as well. God bless everybody.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And now I'm happy to introduce you all to somebody who is a great supporter of New Jersey businesses. He is the Vice President of Member Services at the New Jersey Chamber of Commerce, Patrick Daly. Patrick, come on down.
Good morning, everybody. The New Jersey Chamber is really proud to be a part of this event today. It's great to see our chamber partners and our members here. And we're really proud to be at NJPAC, proud to be in Newark, and proud to partner with Comcast on this event. FIFA can say New York, New Jersey all they want. The games will be played in New Jersey. The World Cup final is the biggest stage in all of sports, and that stage will be set in New Jersey. So the economic impact, as the mayor hinted at earlier, will not just be felt in 2026, but literally it can be felt for decades to come. And we want small and medium-sized businesses in particular to benefit from that, to take advantage of this amazing opportunity. And that's why we have this panel here today. So thank everybody for coming. Thank our panelists. And before we get to our experts, we want to hear from our First Lady, Tammy Murphy.
Hello, everyone. This is First Lady Tammy Murphy. On behalf of the NYNJ Host Committee, it is my honor to welcome all of you to the NJPAC Business Partners Roundtable. And I want to thank you all for participating today. I also want to give a shout out to John Schreiber, who invited me to share this message with you. Next summer, upwards of 1 to 2 million fans from all around the world will arrive here in New Jersey as we celebrate and host 8 World Cup matches, including the final at New York, New Jersey Stadium. This is the largest sporting event on the planet, and it is an extraordinary opportunity for our state and for every business represented here in this room. The projected economic impact on our region exceeds $3.3 billion. Well over 1 million visitors will be dining in our restaurants, staying in our hotels, shopping in our stores, and experiencing the very best of our region. And the ripple effects will touch hospitality, retail, transportation, technology, culture, truly every sector of our economy. The goal of the host committee is simple: to ensure this incredible opportunity delivers real, lasting benefits for our communities. That includes small business engagement, workforce opportunities, and legacy initiatives that will continue long after the tournament ends. I want to thank Alex Lasry, our host committee CEO, and the many partners and agencies working tirelessly to prepare our region for their effort and dedication. And a special thank you to NJPAC, PNC Bank, CSG Law, and all of you for being part of this important and exciting conversation. And most of all, thank you to our business community. Your leadership and creativity will help define how New Jersey shines on the global stage. We have an extraordinary moment ahead, and I am grateful to have all of you playing a central role. Thank you, and I wish you the best for what I know will be a productive day.
I'm going to tell you all applauded at the end, so no worries there. I want to tell you, before we get to our panel, I'm delighted that the CEO of the FIFA 26 New York, New Jersey Host Committee, Alex Lasry, is here with us. According to the countdown clock on the committee's homepage, he has got only 183 days and a few hours left before the World Cup kicks off. So we are enormously grateful that he's spending a little of that time with us. Alex, welcome to the Arts Center. Come on up and say something.
Well, thank you, John, and thank you guys for having me. Could not be more excited for the World Cup to be right here in New Jersey, and most importantly, for the World Cup final to be right here in New Jersey. The World Cup is, as the First Lady said, is going to be the biggest event in human history. The World Cup, if you kind of just put this into perspective, the last World Cup final was viewed by the same amount of people as the last 13 Super Bowls combined. So if the Super Bowl and football is America's sport, football is the world sport. And we are going to be welcoming the world to our shores and to our region in just under 190 days. And what we just had this past weekend was probably the biggest moment that we've had. It was draw weekend, so we learned who's actually playing in our region. We learned the match times. So that was probably the biggest weekend that we've had since we were awarded the finals, and it'll probably be the biggest pivot point that we've had until our first match, June 13th. What we learned this past weekend was that if you're looking to put the biggest stars on the biggest stage, you're putting them right here in New Jersey and at MetLife Stadium. We probably got the best draw of any group in the country. When you look at the teams that are going to be playing here, we kick off on June 13th with Brazil, Morocco. So 2 incredible countries. My family's from Morocco, so very excited to have the Moroccans playing here for our first match. And then Brazil, a team that's looking to, quite possibly win the World Cup. We've also got France playing against Senegal. We've got Senegal also playing against Norway, so we're getting Senegal twice. We've also got England and Panama. So when you think about kind of the star power, the brands, and the clubs that are going to be playing in this region, it doesn't get bigger than those teams. And the fact that we've got them playing here, again, I think speaks to what FIFA wants to put on. And again, I think the importance of this region when you're putting on the biggest sporting event. When I look at our job as the host committee, I kind of look at us as under 4 pillars. So our job is basically to handle everything outside the stadium. So we handle security, transportation, fan engagement, and economic impact. So our job is to make sure that everyone who comes here, and as Tammy said, we're going to be welcoming over the course of 40 days millions of people to this region. The United States as a whole is expecting over 6 million people to visit over the course of 40 days for the World Cup. The United States as a whole is expecting $30 billion of economic impact. Over $3 billion of that coming to this region alone. That is the opportunity that we have for this World Cup, and it is one that really comes once in a generation. We haven't had a World Cup in 30 years. After having this draw, we now are able to move from kind of what was abstract 30,000-foot planning to now moving into true operational planning, kind of on the ground level. We now know our match times, and the teams, which allows us to focus on the nuts and bolts of the transportation plan, the nuts and bolts of the security plan, and allows us to fully get a sense of what the schedule for FIFA Fan Fest is going to be at Liberty State Park. So I also don't want to underestimate. The World Cup is going to be 8 matches, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have the finals. It's going to be the biggest thing ever. But you've got to also have things to do the other 8 days. Sorry, not the other 8 days, the other 30-plus days. Right? We've got 40 days of World Cup going on. We are the only host committee that is open from grand opening to grand closing because we have the finals. So we are the only host committee that is open for every day of the World Cup. We need people to do things on the other days, and that is the opportunity that is, I think here. When you look at people who come to the World Cup and come to America to participate in it, most people won't step foot in MetLife Stadium, and they don't want to. They're coming here to participate in the World Cup, to be part of the action, to celebrate and be part of the atmosphere, and that's what we have at FIFA Fan Festival at Liberty State Park. Our FIFA Fan Festival at Liberty State Park is expected to have anywhere between 30 to 50,000 people a day. It is going to be an incredible celebration and massive watch party right here in New Jersey. And so when we're looking at, kind of the 2 biggest events that are happening as a part of the World Cup, those 2 big events are happening right here in New Jersey. Doesn't mean we're not going to be activating across the river. Our friends in New York have been absolutely incredible partners. But we really want to make sure that we're able to show up and show out, and it's why you guys have all been such incredible partners, and we need to continue to have your support if we want to make sure that this World Cup is successful. And it's why Bettina, our CMO, is here. She'll be on the panel to talk about our community toolkit and our initiatives that we're doing to make sure that all businesses across New Jersey are able to benefit and all regions are able to benefit. We want to empower local communities to put on their own watch parties, right? We don't want to make this a top-down thing where we're dictating everything. We want you guys to put on your watch parties. We want your communities, your visitors bureaus, your cities to be able to activate and put on what you guys need, and let us be a resource to help promote and get out the word so that people who are coming here know exactly what to do. Right? Over the course of 30 days that games aren't being played, people are going to need to travel. And what's awesome about the World Cup is that people do extended stays. They're not just coming for 2 days. They're coming for a week at a time. And so that means that there's a lot of opportunity for people to travel, see all that New Jersey has to offer. And the opportunity that also comes is these are people who are CEOs, they're business leaders, they're just your average family who coming here could be the start of something incredible, right? A yearly vacation that people say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go on whatever Europe's version of spring break is here in New Jersey. We're going to make sure that we do our holiday trip right here to New Jersey. CEOs of all the companies that are coming in, or heads of state coming here saying, this is where I want to invest. This is where we want to make sure that we're putting our money. There is no better advertisement for New Jersey than this World Cup. And so we want to make sure that we work with you to put on an incredible show. We want to make sure that we're working with you to make sure that New Jersey puts its best foot forward, because there is a major responsibility when you're hosting the World Cup final, but in particular when you're hosting that in a region like this. People are expecting greatness when they're coming to this region, because that's what they think of when they think of the United States, right? We have the World Cup final because this region is the capital of the world. And we need to make sure that we live up to that responsibility and that hype. I believe we're doing so, but we can't do it without all your help. So I just want to say thank you so much. This is going to be an incredible time, and we're looking forward to partnering with you all and hope to see you all there. So thank you.
I don't know if you noticed, but Alex is the only person in the room dressed for a soccer match, and he's allowed because he's like the boss, All right, it is now my pleasure to introduce you to the moderator for our discussion. He is Jonathan Schultz. He's the co-founder and managing principal of Onyx Equities. They own all sorts of stuff, but what they are doing at Gateway is extraordinary and transformational for our community. Thank you for that. Onyx is a Newark-based company. We're proud to say that they're one of our business partners. And way back in July, Onyx became the very first official New York, New Jersey World Cup 2026 host city supporter. We are delighted that John has agreed to introduce our panelists and moderate our conversation. John, all yours. Thank you.
All right, so I don't really have to say much. That was a good introduction. Thank you very much. I want to call the panelists up. One by one, come on up. Yeah. So we did put an activation in Gateway Center. We put a mini soccer field in the building. A lot of branding and the flags, so we would love people to come visit and check out what we're doing. We're so excited about creating energy for this. As Alex said, this is the biggest thing happening in the world. I've never felt, any event have the forces that this event does have, so I'm proud to be a really small part in it, and so is Onyx Equities. And thank you for having me here. So I'm going to introduce the panelists. We got a lot of them. Oh my God! But that's because you're going to get a lot of great information, which is what we want today. So. Bettina Garibaldi is Chief Marketing and Communications Officer of the FIFA World Cup 2026 and New York, New Jersey Host Committee. I was just going to say New Jersey, New York Host Committee, but then I would get in trouble. But there you go. We have Along Shang Kolmiz, Public Policy Manager at Airbnb. Daniel Diaz, Vice President of Ad Sales, Business Development, World Cup and Olympics of MBS Universal Local. Veronica Contreras, sports anchor for Telemundo 47, Noticiero 47 Telemundo. I want to make sure I did that right. Jim Kirkos, President and CEO, Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce, and Gus Penaranda, CEO, President, New Jersey Unity Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, a great panel, very excited to have them. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to run through questions that we think will address what everyone wants to hear, and then we'll have a Q&A the last 15 minutes where you can, definitely ask some questions, and we've had some submitted questions, but we're going to start off with Bettina. So can you outline the projected short-term and long-term economic impact of the World Cup on New Jersey's economy, workforce, and help us wrap our arms around how big this event actually is?
Sure. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. So this is obviously one of the biggest World Cups ever across 3 countries, 16 host cities. In the United States alone, 11 host cities. And our region, New York and New Jersey, is a host city, which we're really unique in that sense because there's no other host city that's kind of a two-in-one. It's huge. The numbers speak for themselves. Alex shared, and First Lady Tammy shared the expected visitors that will be coming to our region, and also the economic impact of $3.3 billion in the region alone. We did commission a study with Tourism Economics, and this is what they do, and these numbers are very telling for what this is going to bring for the region. And it's much more than just a soccer tournament, right? For those who might not necessarily be a soccer fan, right? This is a bigger, more cultural moment. Quite frankly, whether you like soccer or not, you will be turning your head and hearing about it, one shape or form, right? And it's truly going to be something that local businesses, municipalities, et cetera, we want them to get engaged. We want to empower folks to really benefit from this, right? That this is coming to our region. We have 8 games, the final, which is very indicative to who we are. We're such a diverse region that I think speaks wonders. And as Alex mentioned, right, this past weekend was incredibly exciting. It has gone from planning to truly operationalizing this thing. As you can imagine, right, we didn't even know if it was a noon game, a 3 p.m. game, a 6 p.m. game, and that truly has an impact on all planning when it comes to transportation, security, our fan engagements, how long we're open for, right? There's going to be some matches that start at 11 p.m. our time because they're out on the West Coast. So it's all these details that now really make it real. And don't get me wrong, there's been team members have been at this since 2017, right? When this was a united bid between the city of New York and New Jersey, hence the name New York and New Jersey, even though, yes, the final is taking place here in East Rutherford. But again, can't stress enough just what a huge moment this is. They keep on saying it's 104 Super Bowls because there's 104 matches happening. It's the first time that the teams that qualify have increased. So it went from 32 to 48. So that obviously impacts the number of games. So it is truly magical. And, you know, to have 13 Super Bowls in a final for us, July 19th, you know, there's a lot that as a region we can take advantage of and make sure that we maximize it for our communities.
Very nice. So, Alon, let me ask you the same question. What do you know, short-term, long-term impact, but on the economy and the workforce, being that, you know, with what you do and where you work, you're tracking this everywhere, probably every day anyway, so.
Yeah, thanks so much for that question, John. So Airbnb, we're an official accommodations partner with FIFA, and I think it's really fascinating to look at our platform in particular, because when you look at our platform, you sort of start to understand how all this global tourism actually turns into local dollars for small businesses, for homeowners, and for communities. So we actually commissioned a study with Deloitte to look at the economic impact, and we found that when you look at all of the host regions, there's going to be about $3.6 billion of economic activity just on our platform, and then roughly 400,000 guests. But then when you zoom in on New Jersey is the only state and the only region where you really have access to 2 different stadiums. You have access to, of course, MetLife, but you also have access to Lincoln Financial Field, and that's really unique. So when you look at what the opportunity is for New Jersey really truly is a World Cup corridor in a way that no other region really is. So then when you look at the economic impact, right, we expect there to be $450 million of economic activity created, about 1,800 jobs and 42,000 guests, and that's just on our platform. Now, that $450 million number, I want to dive into that just for a second. So for every $100 that somebody spends on our platform, they're spending on average $262 in their local communities, which makes a lot of sense, right? Somebody might wake up in the morning, they want some coffee, they walk down the street to get it. Maybe they have a lunch too. They take a break in the afternoon to go shopping at a retailer because they're going to be here for a while for all the matches, right? And then they go to a bar to watch a match that they don't have a ticket for, right? So there will be a ton of spending generated on the platform. Now, additionally, right, when you look at the actual hosts and homeowners themselves on our platform, roughly 50% of them say that they use the money they make from hosting to help with rising costs of living, to help them stay in their home. And 16% even say that it helps them avoid foreclosure. So the World Cup really, I think, can help people make their lives more affordable. Now, the longer term view, our study, we also looked at a projection, and we estimate that looking at the next 5 years, about 65% of folks will want to return, and that will generate probably somewhere in the realm of $200 million in economic activity and create another couple hundred jobs.
Very good. It's amazing. It's gigantic, right? I mean, when you think about this, it's going to be amazing for New Jersey. So, Daniel Diaz. So when it comes to the World Cup, there are plenty of businesses, including many in this room, obviously, who are, still looking for different ways to capture momentum, expand their reach. What are some ways we can engage with the media market, and what insights into audience segmentation can you share? So to grasp it, so that we really can understand how this works.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I always say I have the great privilege of going around the country, preaching the good word of soccer. Telemundo, we have, as part of NBC Universal, we have the #1 FIFA deal in the world. It's about $1 billion. Fox paid $650 million for the same rights. So this sport has a huge Spanish language audience, large English language audience, and people are tuning in, and they're locking in really like very few other sports. We mentioned the size and scale of that World Cup final. The estimated audience just for the World Cup final is 2 billion viewers. So the take-home line, it will be the most connected moment in the history of civilization. It is unlike anything else. The beautiful thing, I think, for smaller businesses, for people in the community, soccer is more egalitarian than ever because live stream has really picked up. So if anybody tunes in and watches sports from a linear perspective, TV, that's great, but live stream allows advertisers to come in at a more micro level. So previously in the past, the thought was, I need to be a Fortune 100, Fortune 500 to have any impact or to participate in the World Cup from an ad spend perspective. That's simply not the case anymore. And I think that's fantastic, not only for the sport, but also for business leaders, for CMOs, directors of marketing, just to be able to participate in such a grandiose, massive event. And then I would also emphasize as well, these big, major global advertisers that come in and have these massive spend budgets, they're often not purchasing because they're doing a national deal. The local news. We have, and Telemundo and Veronica does a fantastic job, the whole team. We are very, very lucky here in the tri-state area to have our WNJU, our Telemundo station, but it's true across the country as well. Telling the story of the World Cup from a local perspective, from the eyes and the hearts of fans. Every city, every DMA has a very unique football culture and football DNA. Ours here in New Jersey and New York is as unique as any in the whole country. So I urge folks again, consider participating. Really don't be afraid of coming in. World Cup is so special, but also think about, in addition to advertising, spending in the games, also consider telling the story of fans here in our home markets, because I think that's just as important as anything.
It's amazing. So Veronica, now you had the front row seat at the Kennedy Center and the draw. We now know all the matchups, and as Alex said, once we heard these matchups, how much better can it get for our region? It's makes it even more exciting. So, for us to feel what you felt there and, how you report and tell your stories, what are some of the storylines for all of us, and what surprises might pop up over the course of the tournament?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. To be honest, I wanted to be just a fan. I wanted to get a phone and take selfies the whole entire time. It was like to be in a room with so many superstars. It was awesome. Not only stars from like soccer superstars, but you saw Shaquille O'Neal, NBA, if you know, Tom Brady, NFL, Aaron Judge from the Yankees. So it was nice to see those superstars taking selfies with soccer legends. So it was like, this was the biggest sporting event prior to the World Cup. We wait for the World Cup 4 years. Well, we wait for this draw also because we want to know where our teams are going to end up. Like, now we know what they're going to be playing. And to be able to have final know as a fan, I mean, okay, so Ecuador's going to be playing in New York. Okay, now I can start buying tickets. I can start booking hotels. That's how everybody starts. Okay, Team USA, we knew Team USA was going to start in LA, Mexico, obviously in Mexico, but you don't know who's going to play against with, or Canada. So now everybody's like set. If you're from Argentina, if you're from Ecuador, from Germany, they'll start planning where they're going to go. So this was like an awesome event, being there, covering it, knowing that, okay, we waited for this moment. Now we know. Now start planning. Like we were saying earlier, now you know who's going to be coming here. Obviously for the first round, because we're going to have more games later on, and the final. So it's like, how many of you have watched a Super Bowl? You've been at the Super Bowl? Well, at home, right? You get together. There's times that you don't watch the whole NFL, only the Super Bowl. So imagine, like we were saying, this was going to be like for 30 days, Super Bowl every single day. So 104 Super Bowls in a whole month is going to be here in our area. This is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. If you're a soccer fan, if you're not, you're going to be, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, soccer. Get ready. It's going to be huge. You're going to have like millions of people coming in. You're going to be walking. You're going to see jerseys from Argentina, from Senegal, from Haiti. Because for the first time, 48 countries qualified. So there's going to be more teams, more soccer fans. And if you're not a soccer fan, you're going to become a soccer fan. And I'll say something, and I always say it. In Espanol, when you watch a soccer game in Espanol, it's better to hear "Gol!" So you're going to hear that for a whole month. Get ready. On Telemundo.
We love it. That's amazing. Bettina, do you want to chime in too on this? I think you should add some.
Sure. Yeah. So we had some team members down in DC with Veronica, and then here in the region. So we did host some great events here. We also worked with our partners at Visit New Jersey, New York City Tourism, to highlight local bars and restaurants that were playing the draw and kind of doing giveaways with our scarves, kind of just to get the local businesses involved. But it was great. It is a moment. The U.S. Soccer, the men's team, they did have an activation in Times Square, kind of a live watch draw party, which was exciting there with, we all have our teams that we root for, right? But obviously now with the matchups for the U.S. team, it's looking like it could be a smooth sailing, hopefully into the round of 32. So we'll see, but it was exciting. So again, this is a pivotal moment in our planning to now truly operationalizing everything that we're doing, and we can talk more about what we're doing specifically for small businesses.
All right, so go ahead, jump in, yeah.
I think it's like the entire world paused for like those 3 hours. It's like, okay, got to stop for a minute, 3 hours to watch. Okay, now I can continue to work. Just waiting.
It's so true. Such exciting stuff. So 101 Super Bowls I keep hearing, and now we're going to ask Jim Kirkos a question, because people may remember a negative experience around the local opportunities during the Super Bowl. So how will you make this different, right? I think it's a really good question to ask, because in life, you always get better by learning lessons and then seeing how to deploy them moving forward. So how are you going to do that?
So, Jonathan, I love this question because we really did learn a lot of lessons. Our collective attitude when Super Bowl came to town was that it was going to be okay for us to just sit back because so much business was going to come into town that it would just come to us. And that's wrong. Right? And that's what we learned. That's the biggest thing we learned. We learned that we have to be, as a community, proactive. And I am really excited. The reason I love the question is because I feel like sitting here today, knowing what everybody on this panel is doing, knowing what many of you in the audience is already planning on doing, we're going to do it so much better for World Cup than we've ever done before. I'll give you an example. Alex talked about assisting, and Patina helps us all the time, the local communities. We're gonna, in the Meadowlands area, we're gonna produce something called Flag Cities. It's 5 local activations the day before each one of the 5 preliminary group round games. And in places like Lyndhurst and Secaucus, East Rutherford, Bergen County, and there's one more location to be named. Those will attract 5,000 to 10,000 people each. We'll give the local community and local businesses the opportunity to do business in vendor villages, and will allow people to touch and feel. We didn't have that. We didn't have that mentality back in Super Bowl, but we have it now. We're working with friends like at Telemundo who are helping us, and so many people to plan these and do it better. And the local communities are much more receptive. They no longer are saying, let's sit back and just wait for business to come to our door. Can't do that, right? Nope. We're taking it into it. We're working collectively every day with the host committee. The fan festival at Liberty State Park is going to be amazing. And then the fan festivals that are being created in Newark and in all kinds of communities, in flag cities and places, they're all going to be amazing, and they should take place, right? And so that will give the entire region and entire state, and I suspect that this is happening all over New Jersey. And Gus and I and others in the business community have been talking about this for years now, and so it's really taking place. People have accepted the fact that we have to take it into our own hands, work collectively with all the powers that be at FIFA, especially with our friends at the host committee, and make something work. And I can guarantee you that on July 20th, when we're all taking a big deep breath after all the games are over and the final is complete, I think we're going to be able to stand really tall to say we've done everything we can to activate our local communities, to give local businesses opportunities that they didn't have, to give local residents to touch and feel this greatest sporting event on the planet.
Well, we're excited. We know, learning lessons is the most important thing in life, and how do you move forward and to make things better, and I could already see that's happening. And Gus, this is all exciting. People want to show up to events, but creativity can be spurred by knowing who to call and even brainstorm with. How do I even think about doing something that could be exceptional or different? So how can companies, including small and mid-sized businesses, which is the heartbeat of every community, right, get involved with the World Cup, align their brand, with this event, either through official channels or local activations? And how do they find that, speak to someone about that, and actually, achieve that?
Well, thank you for the question. And just by a show of hands, how many people in this room have actually been to a World Cup? Okay, so everyone else, what's coming, especially with Brazil playing the first match, is just going to blow your mind. And so I run the Unity Chamber of Commerce, and I am part of a coalition. The New Jersey Chamber of Commerce has the Chamber Alliance, and then I am part of the New Jersey Diverse Business Advisory Council. So Jim and I, Bettina and I, just about everybody on this stage have been working together, myself, for almost 3 years in planning events where small businesses can come and be part of it. Everyone is free to go to the FIFA.com website and apply. The host committees for all the cities have applications if you want to become a vendor, but that's plan A. So what we've been doing for the last almost 3 years is talking about plan B. If I don't get here, well, how can I still be part of this? So we have been holding events across the state of New Jersey, specifically for small to mid-sized businesses, which also opens up opportunities for some of the corporations that call New Jersey home to be sponsors. I mean, I had to cheat, and I wrote some of them down because I kind of lost track. But we created a reference guide, which we love sending out with the toolkit from the host committee, because that's key information, especially if you're planning on streaming any of the matches in your business. We've done the ride to Washington. I don't know if anybody's been there. So we brought Pele's eldest daughter, Kelly Nascimento. I don't know if anybody's a Pele fan, but he actually has when he was around, he loved Newark. There's memorabilia all over some of the schools in Newark. So that's something that a lot of people aren't aware of. We brought FIFA here. They did a no discrimination event, because there's more to the World Cup than just sports. There's art, there's social responsibility, there's human trafficking. There's a whole lot of issues, believe it or not, that FIFA has an agency within their corporate office that addresses that. So you can go to YouTube, put in no discrimination, FIFA no discrimination, William Patterson, and you'll see the 2-hour presentation. It's informative. We do World Cup 101 sessions. Basically, we go and we bring all the information that we get from all the individuals up here, especially the host committee that we meet regularly, and we disseminate it in multiple languages. Because English is our primary language, but we have to understand that we are a diverse state, we have diverse business owners, and it's easier for them to understand the right thing to do when planning for the World Cup. We brought over Dante Mortet. He's the artist that created Pele's hand and feet. We brought him, and businesses met with him, and they had business, and now if you go to certain restaurants in northern New Jersey, some of his artwork is there with the players that they sculpted the hands and the feet in the past. So these are things that happen just by talking and networking together. We've done an app. We've done an AI video and created a sculpture that was created by AI. And then our most popular event is the Countdown to the World Cup. Has anybody here, by a show of hands, heard of the Countdown to the World Cup? Okay, it's held at American Dream for the last 2 years with the great support of the host committee, the great support of Meadowlands Chamber and the region. And basically, we wanted to show whoever was visiting at any time in the last 3 years that our businesses, our organizations are ready. We had restaurants, we had people that did caps, t-shirts, we had artists because, again, art is big and Newark is doing a great job. So these are the things that we have done. Now what we're going to do for 2026 is the final version of a lot of what I mentioned. But in addition, we are going to ask the governor-elect to create a 2026 Small Business Commission so we can take what we've done and what we're going to do and help more businesses. We've helped 10,000 businesses in the last 3 years. It's a small percentage of the 900,000 that call New Jersey home. With the backing of the governor-elect, we should be able to help at least 40 to 55,000 businesses, and that's just going to make the effect on July 20th better for more people to do more in the coming years.
Terrific. So to me, this is like one of the most important questions, right? Like being in New Jersey, being a New Jersey company, what should we be doing right now? I'm going to open this to the panel because everyone may have a different outlook on this, right? What opportunities are there? How can we stay informed? RFPs, engagement, is there any other things that we should be thinking about? Who would like to chime in first? Okay.
I'll get started, Jonathan.
Okay.
I think what, and we are also doing much of what Gus is talking about in informing our businesses how they can be better at showcasing their businesses. This is an opportunity using the World Cup to create business opportunities as leverage to learn how to be better at marketing our businesses. And ultimately, small businesses don't spend enough money on marketing their companies. They wait for the door to open, and many times they don't know how the best way is to open it. So this is an opportunity for especially small businesses to really showcase themselves. Those in the hospitality sector, to make sure people know what you have available. To make sure you know how to get into Gus's resource guide, the resource guides that might be at the host committee, the resource guides that are in organizations like ours in the Meadowlands. Those are the things that will really help project those companies and give everybody the best opportunity to draw in some folks. Remember this too. Yes, we're going to bring in 1 million or 2 million people to the region, right? I call it the Greater Meadowlands, but the region, let's call it all of New Jersey. They'll come here for that. But when a big event takes place, you create the opportunity for even local families to spend some discretionary money and get out and do something special, right? It's I call it an event day activity. It's something for the family to do. And so that domestic spend, all right, of local families doing something collectively together, along with the international visitors in the region. And so all of our businesses need to say, yes, we're open for business, and here's what we have to offer. And so the marketing compacts and what Luis was saying before is so critical. We have to be able to showcase all of those businesses in some direct way, and that's what will give business a better opportunity to let their businesses be found.
Terrific. Anyone? Go ahead.
I think if anybody, restaurant business, let's say if I have a restaurant, for example, I could say, okay, if you come in with your favorite jersey, you get I don't know, a half price on a drink, or maybe free, or two for the price of one, something like deals like that. Or like, let's say if the family could, not only for the group or whoever, raffles, things like that. But if I'm thinking like, obviously soccer, okay, we're gonna do a raffle at 5 o'clock, or if you answer the question right, and then you get a drink for free. If you, I don't know, I'm just thinking, if I have a restaurant, I bring people over, like, hey, I keep saying drinks. I'm sorry, if you don't drink, it's okay. You can have a snack, and you can have appetizer too. Like deals like that. I think it will be great, because like, hey, we get together, we eat, and usually people drink.
I would just
when
add
they're watching soccer.
I would add on top of that, one of the most important metrics that we're asked in marketing and in media these days, especially in this age of fragmentation, is can you share programs that have high co-viewing? Co-viewing, families, sometimes 3 generations together in the household, it leads to higher purchase intent, brand likability, search, but also total spend, because again, we need more times to be spent together. I always say in my family, I have some cousins I won't see until the next World Cup. It's such a big event for us. My aunts are making menu dishes based on which teams are playing. I think taking advantage of that and just understanding too, it's 39 days of this tournament. It's people that are going to be coming together. Invite them. Tell them to make that your businesses can make that moment more special for them. Lead them along the way and just be part of the celebration. If I can leave you with one thing here, if anyone who markets in sports who understands kind of the sports media landscape, don't look at the World Cup as another sporting event. This is a cultural event, and you won't get another chance to get in front of this many people and this many families at once for another 4 years at least.
Jonathan, I'm sorry, I failed to make one point. I used the word leverage for businesses. If small businesses prepare themselves for World Cup and get better at understanding the marketing opportunities and how to do it, that knowledge lives on in perpetuity after World Cup.
Yep.
Right? So that's the leverage,
Yep.
right? We get smart and we learn how to do it so we can maximize the opportunity of World Cup, and then we're better. The business is better after World Cup.
Yep.
And that's the leverage here. And so I was talking to our friends at NJIT before about getting young students to help businesses with social media and marketing and understanding it. So many businesses need to understand that. And us old dogs take a month to learn how to put a LinkedIn post up when kids can do it in 30 minutes. But the point is, let's leverage those opportunities forever.
Yeah.
So I wanted
Yeah,
to just.
so-
Sorry, go ahead. No, please.
So I did want to share, we do have a community engagement toolkit. Also, it's available on our website. So it has, ideas for different types of industry. If you're a restaurant, if you're a retailer, if you're, right? But again, it's meant to be thought starters in creative ways. But not only kind of from the marketing side, but also operationally, right? What small businesses or SMBs in general need to start thinking about now that we know the match times. Do you need to potentially extend your operating hours? Do you need to potentially staff up, right? Things like that you need to think through as well from an operations perspective. But we created through our foundation, which is called Welcome World, we did create a brand identity. And what that is it's a logo, and it comes in different kind of iterations, precisely for the communities and the local and small businesses to utilize, understanding that obviously the FIFA logo is there's restrictions to that, right? There is, but it still doesn't mean that you can't get involved. So we specifically created this other brand identity that is starting to get adopted throughout the region. It's Welcome World. That also is available on the toolkit. So for example, you're a small business and you want to show your support, or kind of say, I'm in, right? I'm feeling this energy. I'm offering something at my at my business, specifically related to World Cup, you could put, this logo as on your storefront as a decal, right? And again, it's creating. This is something that we're pushing out as a host committee as an identifier for fans that will be visiting our region, right? To be privy to, hey, if you see this somewhere, that means that business is engaged and doing things. But there's multiple ways and ideas within the toolkit. Our website, obviously, it'll serve as a repository for any and all events. We'll definitely be, obviously, including the Flag Cities events that are happening, right? That Jim mentioned on our website as a platform, and allowing our platforms to serve for the benefit of the communities and what they're doing, if they're doing watch parties, et cetera. Veronica, it's interesting that you mentioned the whole kind of deal, right? If you're a local restaurant kind of providing a buy one, get one or something. In fact, we are going to launch an SMB engagement initiative in January. So more to come there, but on how local businesses in the region can partake. And it's something that, we hope this toolkit is utilized, right? We're creating it as a resource, as a playbook with ideas and useful resources for local businesses. We have a procurement vendor interest form there. If you have a service, et cetera, fill out the form. We'll take a look at your incoming, and if we have needs in that specific area, we'd be reaching out. So it's also serving as a repository for that information. So again, I guess if I can't stress enough, just get involved. If you have any questions, let us know. But there are tools that you can use to feel part of this.
So just wanted to add on. So if you are in a cash business, I recommend you not be in a cash business during the World Cup, because most people are going to tap and go. So you'll understand that that's something that you want to change. If you have Coca-Cola products or Lay's products in your business or in your vending machines, they are going to provide branded items with the trophy and some of the logos. So you want to contact your supplier and make sure that you get them, because it's not unlimited. There's going to be limited amounts that they're gonna put out. And you also want to get informed about the events that are happening, the activations that are not connected to FIFA directly. So Jersey City is going to have the gateway to the world. They're going to close down the main road leading to the Fan Fest entrance at Liberty State Park, and it's going to be tents provided, so restaurants from around the state can go and rent a tent for the day. They'll be streaming the match, or they'll be streaming whatever information is around. Music, it'll be in front of City Hall. But that's just one. The Newark Alliance, I'm sure, is going to have an event. If you know Portuguese Day down Ferry Street, multiply that by 100, and then you'll understand what that first match with Brazil is going to do. Another thing is partner amongst each other. If you're a transportation business and you know a hospitality business and you know restaurants, partner up. Salons, people are going to want barbershops. They're going to want to cut the initials of their countries in their hair. They want to paint their nails. I'm not joking. They're going to paint their nails in the color of their team. But I also want to mention this. Sail Forth 250 on the 4th of July. They're going to have 60 mass ships from around the world coming, plus over 100 U.S. Navy vessels in the Hudson River. There aren't enough hotel rooms in New York, northern New Jersey, and Atlantic City combined to house everyone. So from July 3rd through July 8th, now you have that particular event that's going on while the World Cup is going on. And also, this is June. It is Pride Month. New York is going to have 1 million people marching down 6th Avenue. Newark is going to have their celebrations. Asbury Park's going to have their celebrations, and so forth. That is more business. And you're also adding on 1 million plus guests that are going to go to all of these events. So the toolkit is great, especially for the streaming rights and rules. The reference guides and everything that we're putting out there is good for artists, musicians, and how to activate a fair type event. And then media. I mean, I think there's a local radio station here today, but you'll be surprised how many local radio stations and streaming services are in your area that you can talk to and get interviewed and promote your items. So these are the things that we've been talking about for the last 3 years. And we also, like I said, I mentioned the app. My colleague, Elisa Charters, is right there. Students put together an app for this event that can be used for business or for just, your group. So these things are out there. And that's why we need to communicate, word of mouth, post, and then we're going to get the maximum benefit for this once-in-a-lifetime event.
So, housing, right? It's like people are going to be coming here in droves. So, Alon, like short-term rental capacity, like what insights can you give people to tell their friends or whoever is planning on coming here? And, obviously it's your product, but there's other products. Like, what's your view on how to best understand that to get a place to stay?
Yeah, so I think what we're hearing from everybody on this panel, right, is really a sense of the scale of demand, right? And when you think about it, right, summer is already the peak tourism season in the region. I can speak authoritatively on that because my dad lived in Asbury Park for 20 years before that was like the cool place to be. But you'll have the regular summer beach season, right? On top of that, you have America 250, right? Pride Month is happening at the same time, right? And you will literally have millions of people who want to come because of the World Cup, right? So demand is going to be extremely high. Hotels are going to be full. And frankly, a lot of our hosts are also going to be booked up, right? So we actually did a study, and we looked at all the zip codes that have hotels and all the zip codes that have Airbnbs, right? And when you look at the zip codes that have hotels in the region, it's about 35% of zip codes. Airbnb, there's an Airbnb in about 60% of zip codes. So when you think about what our platform allows people to do, right, it really allows you to scale up lodging. It allows you to scale up capacity, which I think will be important because every person who doesn't come visit, who doesn't have a place to stay, right, that's lost revenue for your business, that's lost revenue for the community, right? So I think that actually is at the core of all of the economic activity.
What's the urgency, right? Like, should people be doing it now? Like, what should people be thinking about? That, because a lot of times you're busy with your life, you're like, I'll get to that.
Yeah, so from our perspective, right, we're thinking about this now very actively in terms of onboarding supply. Our business side, they estimate that takes probably 6 months to onboard supply, but when you go into our app, the process is normally pretty simple, right? You can do it really relatively easily, but I would also advise you gotta be aware of what your local regulations are if you want to list yourself or you have a friend who wants to get listed. But really, I think there is an urgency to really scale up supply for us.
Okay. So Bettina, we're in Newark. I love Newark. Onyx loves Newark. I'm so glad we're doing this event here. The New York, New Jersey Host Committee is situated here in a good building, I might not add. What role will the city Newark play in the grand scheme of the World Cup? Like, what else should people know on, since we're local, we're here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've chosen Newark to be our headquarters for the host committee, which is exciting at Gateway. Onyx. But yes, I think, again, it's all a matter of how local municipalities and cities want to get involved and watch parties and or offering, incentivizing people and fans and visitors to go to your business, right? Communicating via your social channels that you will be playing the matches, right? We have our channels and we happily kind of reshare and try to promote local businesses throughout the region, but we unfortunately may not be able to tick the box and highlight everyone. So it's a matter of let us know what you are doing. If you highlight it to us and we're aware of it, we can help as well promote it across our channels. But Newark specifically, I mean, it's the gateway, right? We're so close to both the action that will happen at Liberty State Park via the FIFA Fan Festival, MetLife, in Meadowlands. So it's truly going to be a pivotal point, even from a cultural perspective of different nations and just as diverse as it is, right? Right, while we don't, for example, have Portugal or Spain in our group stage. I mean, they are very strong teams, and they will likely continue on in the tournament. So, it's kind of that activation of sorts, right? There's still going to be those fans that are attending these, going to these bars to watch the games, right? If they're not traveling to another host city that's hosting them in the group stage. So again, it's truly being aware of the cultural impact that this is going to have, and making sure that you're staying up to date too with the latest information that's out there.
Very nice. Oh, you got the questions? All right, so someone has another question here. Before we get to that, and this was not on the docket, so I'm throwing this at you out of nowhere. Because this whole thing's about energy, so if I would describe how I feel about what's happening, I feel like really energetic about something new and important coming to an area that I love, right? A community that I love, my business I love, the people in it I love. So I want everyone to do one word of how they feel before we kick it off to questions about the World Cup. Just one word.
Ready.
Okay.
Goal!
Excited.
Motivated.
Hopeful.
Energized.
There you go. I got to do it. Go. I'm going to start saying, I can't, that's like, it's very exciting to say that. All right, so what we're going to do now is we had a submitted question, then I have questions from the audience. Was that one passed back? I could take a look at that. All right. But for the submitted question, I thought this was a good one. Because this is important, right? Like, you got to get places during the World Cup. What major infrastructure changes or improvements are being made to support the influx of visitors? Mitch Nasiri from Doubletree Newark Airport. Who would like to answer that? And
Good. You start off and I'll add.
Whoops. No, so yes, there's investments. Sorry. Happening throughout the region. Secaucus is getting a bit of an upgrade, so to speak. Obviously, Secaucus Junction is going to be a main travel hub and point for those who will be going to the stadium. MetLife, they're also, they have to meet, FIFA standards for certain things, right, to host such an international tournament of this caliber. So there's, as part of that, right, and again, to Jim's point, there are improvements being made that will not only serve the purposes of the tournament, but that's the legacy, right, that we're leaving behind too. These improvements will live on and make our, commutes and transportation options that much better as we get closer to the World Cup. I don't know if Jim, there's any.
Yeah, I think Jonathan, New Jersey and around the stadium, DOT and Turnpike have been making major investments for years now, not only leading up to World Cup, but I think what's most encouraging to me is a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we hosted at our HQ a transportation group led by the folks at the host committee and the team that was leading the transportation. And in that particular room was every transportation and security entity in the entire region. And they were going through scenarios of what happens if, and they were talking about just about every roadway leading into the complex and in and around the region. And that gives me great confidence that they're thinking about that and they're planning it. And now that we know the times of the games, as Alex Lasry said earlier, they can get to some of the specifics about what's going to happen on a Tuesday at 3 o'clock when there's a game, at Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And that might look different in the region of a transportation plan if there's an 8 o'clock game at MetLife Stadium. So I think not only along with the infrastructure investments that are taking place, I think more importantly is the logistical plan for how to move people around from Secaucus Transfer and other locations to the site. That's going to be what's most important.
Yes, and just to build on that, there is a very thorough mobility plan being put into place, and now it's going to kick into high gear now that we know the times. So of the 8 games that we are hosting here in the region, 4 of them are on a weekday, right? So those are things for us to keep in mind. And the times, is it a 6 p.m. during rush hour or is it a noon game, right? Those sorts of things that are integral to that next step that our team is working on.
I guess once all this information is up there, you can go to ChatGPT, and hopefully that will make life easy for you. I use that like every hour now on the day. It's amazing, all the LLMs. All right, so Here's another question. What specific procurement categories or supplier needs will the host committee, stadium partners, and media partners be sourcing locally for the World Cup 2026? And how are minority and women-owned business enterprises being integrated into the vendor ecosystem? Along with another question, which is how can a business become a vendor? Let's make it a little broader as well. Danielle Wellington, the Wellington White Portfolio, asked that question. So.
Sure, I can take that. So we do have a procurement interest form on our website via the toolkit. We are also, and that's for any sort of business, whatever. If you're a printer and you print hats or anything from that. We've recently brought in our concessionaire for the FIFA Fan Festival, and they will be managing a specific food and beverage procurement form as well. Now that we have the match times and we're operationalizing our opening hours and that sort of detail, we are determining, right, we will need vendors that have the scale to provide, a 30,000, 50,000 people a day capacity, but we're also thinking through having smaller businesses in rotation. These are all things that we're keeping in mind to ensure that we are keeping these opportunities equitable. Part of the form also, personally as a Latina, for me, it's important to ensure that you diverse businesses are represented in everything that is we do. So part of the form also includes to identify yourself if you are a women or minority-owned business, et cetera, because our ethos is also ensuring that we're giving everyone that opportunity. So more to come there. We're going to soon launch that food and beverage specific procurement form as it relates to FIFA Fan Festival activity. And again, as you can imagine, right, for us, it's now that we know the nations, right? So maybe when Ecuador is playing against Germany at the FIFA Fan Festival, we might want to work with a small Ecuadorian restaurant, right, for 3 days, right, and kind of give them that opportunity because potentially scale-wise they wouldn't be able to fulfill the needs for the entire duration of the tournament. So we are keeping these things in mind to keep these opportunities, viable.
And from a media perspective too, it's NBC Universal, our parent company, Comcast. This is something that we take a lot of pride in as well. There are sites that exist where you can register interest and also fill out necessary paperwork. I would speak from an ad sales perspective as well. We are hosting watch parties all the time with clients, with different agencies. Michelob Ultra is a major player. They're the official partner. The distributors, so like in New York, AB1, for example, if you're in that space, I would really recommend reaching out to distributors, seeing what can be done there, and then just reaching out to folks, letting them know that you're a great place and an opportunity to watch some games, bring friends, family, clients together in one place.
Okay. So one more. So will the host committee partner with New Jersey-based workforce development initiatives to prepare residents for job opportunities created by the games? Jim or Bettina?
Sure. I will say this: the study that we commissioned did highlight that the 8 matches that are coming here will have a ripple effect and support more than, I believe the stat is 30,000 plus jobs specifically related to needing additional staff for around the perimeter of the stadium, needing, et cetera. I will say, we in everything that the host committee controls, again, we are the local organizing body responsible for delivering the World Cup here, working alongside FIFA. FIFA also have their plans in place to also employ additional, it's going to increase as we get closer. So I don't know their specific plans, but I do know ours, that we are hosting fan zones. We are hosting all these things that will require manpower to execute them and pull them off. So at least directly in everything that we're touching, there will be those opportunities.
Can I just chime in on that too? So if you're a local business and you find out that, let's say, Newark is having an event, that's also procurement opportunities for security, for cleanup. So, doing the forms and everything for FIFA and the host committee is always plan A. But working with your chambers of commerce who would know, like with the flag cities, are you going to need cleanup? Are you going to need security, transportation, EMT services? So depending on what your business is, the opportunities for employment and jobs could be regional instead of specifically to the stadium or the Fan Fest. Because that's the whole thing, is we're trying to make sure that everyone understands that, yes, that's the best opportunity in those two venues. However, you have an entire state, because we haven't talked about the 6 games to the southern part of the state that are going to affect Camden, Collingwood, Atlantic City, basically all the shore towns, because of the fact that they're having the same issues that we are. Aren't enough hotel rooms, everybody wants to participate, and the teams that are playing here are also going to play there for the most part. So this is encompassing most of the state of New Jersey. So focus not just on the north, go south as well, because there are opportunities there, across all different types of jobs, not just security or food or cleanup, but there's also babysitting. There's also, daycare, temporary gym passes. These are all things that you can create and do, not just here, but across the state.
Can I add something? This is going to be huge. I'm like, the World Cup, we wait 4 years for the World Cup. Usually, in this case, we have the World Cup here in our backyard. First time ever, Mexico, Canada, and USA. But people save money to go to the World Cup. Maybe people travel. There's some people who travel to every single World Cup. There's people who never made it to the World Cup, and then they're going to have it here. So there's a huge opportunity for them to come to the United States if they don't live here already. But there's going to be millions of people coming in to watch the World Cup. And like we mentioned before, a lot of them might not have tickets to go to the game, but they're going to be hanging out around, partying. But this is going to be huge. I mean, like I said, lunch, breakfast, and dinner. Get ready.
But can I just add one thing? This is a time to be creative. As business owners, be creative. Have fun with this. Not, you can make, I've always carried my stuff. You can make hats, within branding rights, and that's what the toolkit is very good for. It gives you the links to the information you need, but you can make your own hats. You can make your own T-shirts. I'm very proud to say that I went to a venue in the city of Bloomfield last week called Veritage Beer Works, and they, just by emailing through social media, met the artist who created the poster for the World Cup, Rich. And Rich designed a piece of art to put around the new ale that they're making. So I went on social media when I found this out, and I said, hey, you memorabilia collectors, guess where you have to go to get your cans that have the artwork from the artist that created the poster for the World Cup? All because he went on social media and says, oh, that's the artist? Let me see if he has a contact. And they met, and it happened. So these are things that you can have fun with. As business owners, I'm a business owner myself, have fun. Because if you have fun, you're going to be more into what you're doing, more creative, and then that's going to spill over into your social media and promotions. And if you get into the Liberty State Park events, or if you get into one of the Flag Cities events, imagine that what you put your heart and soul in is now going to be distributed among people from around the world.
I agree with Gus on the fun thing. We're having some fun. I'll share with you. We've created a mascot in the Meadowlands for World Cup, and the mascot we took as a takeoff on the environmental side of either a great or a snowy egret. So we've created an egret whose name is Murray, and that egret stands tall with his chest out, a little bit of a Jersey attitude, and you're going to hear from Murray every week from now till World Cup. And that's the fun side of it. We're having some fun with it, right? And so people can attach themselves to it. So I agree with that. Have fun. I just want to share one last thing with on the workforce stuff. We're surveying our businesses at our organization, because we're a chamber. We're surveying our member businesses, especially those in hospitality, to understand what their what their hiring potential needs might be, and if they're already short, and what they're planning on. And we're going to communicate those needs to, like in Bergen County, the Workforce Investment Board, and also the colleges and universities that have hospitality programs, and so that we can make those connections to fill those needs and try to supplement them.
So,
Sure. Some stats that I know, Daniel, we love, we don't have the graphics that we normally have, but it's like it was prioritized. Number one for men, it was holding a baby, right? Becoming a dad. And number two,
Your country winning a World Cup. Those were the moments of most importance for the U.S. Latino sports fan.
and this is real stats.
all right, so this is the last question that was just brought up to me. Given the projected $3 billion economic impact, how is the U.S. government addressing visa and immigration to make international fans, talent, and activity enter the country smoothly?
Yeah, so I mean, we get this question often, and what I typically say is whether for all the right reasons or not, the current administration wants this World Cup to be a success. It'll be under their name, right? So I think right now there are some, visa expediting kind of processes in place that have been announced recently by the federal government. So all we can say is from the region's perspective and the host committee's perspective is, we're here and going to be ready to welcome whomever comes to our region as we've always done and we'll continue to do.
I think the real answer is that while none of us up here get to make that decision, we're all going to advocate for an easy process so that we can do welcoming the world here. And if we all do that, then hopefully that voice will be heard in Washington.
So I just want to leave you with a stat then. So the World Cup, when it was held in Russia, these are from FIFA Direct, was profitable when they added up all the numbers. In 2022, in Qatar, where there was no booze allowed in the stadium and all the other issues that they were having, was twice as profitable as Russia. Those were 32-team matches. We're 48 teams. There is no question that the immigration is going to have some effect, but it's not going to affect the bottom line of the tournament itself. They are going to make sure that the 99.7% of the people that apply for visa to come to the World Cup are going to be here because they've done this so many times. They know how to do it. They know how to work with administrations, Russia, Qatar, the United States. So always keep it in the back of your mind, but push forward your plan A and your plan B because it is going to be a success. It's just a question of how much of a success it's going to be for you.
Well, I want to thank this panel. How good a job was this, right? A lot of information, very energetic, very happy. You can tell they all love what they do, which to me is why life is fun. And I want to thank everyone for coming and attending. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had some take-home value and got something out of this program. Thank you very much.